Hello friends, welcome to NIOS Studios. I am Ms. Divya Sharma from Mata Sundari College for Women of Delhi University. Today we are going to discuss about development of convergent and divergent thinking among students. First of all, let's discuss about what is meant by convergent thinking and divergent thinking. It was given by J.P. Guilford in 1956 in his theory of intelligence. Convergent thinking is basically the kind of thinking which focus on giving single best possible answer to a particular problem or situation, and it basically talks about giving well established solution of that particular problem. Divergent thinking is just opposite to this type of thinking. Here the focus is on giving number of different ideas or solutions to particular problem. Next we come to the convergent thinking. First of all, let's discuss it in brief. It is the ability to give single best possible answer or solution to a standard problem. It means that there should be some single best correct solution available to a given problem, such as we have got experience of solving lot of objective type questions or multiple choice questions in different school tests or GK test or some kind of standardized test you must have experienced yourself. So, there you know that the only goal is always to figure out a correct solution. So, either you will reach to the correct solution or incorrect solution, there cannot be a midway. Now, let us look at this diagram. We know that if we have got some problem to solve and we have enough awareness about various facts which would lead to us the particular solution, then we will gather all those facts and information available to us, and then that particular correct solution will be arrived at. So, we can summarize the feature of convergent thinking to be type of thinking which emphasizes on speed, accuracy and logic. So, speed means if we have correct knowledge, if we have the answer readily available to our memory, we would be doing it so speedily, and it will be always an accurate answer because it was having only one correct answer anyways. And then logic is to be applied because to use that particular logical way of solving that problem will only lead us to that solution. So, that means we will always have a fixed route to approach solution. Any random process of thinking will not lead to arrival of that particular solution in convergent thinking process. So, it will also involve manipulation of existing knowledge by means of those standard procedures or strategies. We know that there are certain problems or situations we arrive at in our classrooms where we know that some particular kind of technique or strategy or algorithm will be leading to a particular solution of it. So, here in this particular thinking, we know that we will be using our prior knowledge or existing knowledge of those procedures has to be applied here. So, another feature of convergent thinking would be that we should be having some existing knowledge, some ideas, some strategies known to us, and then this kind of thinking will involve manipulation of existing knowledge by means of those known standard procedures or algorithms. So, here it will be also focusing on recognizing those familiar elements and reapplying those tried out techniques along with that stored information which we have in our memory. So, basically we should be knowing certain strategies and certain factual information that will lead us to that known solution of the problem. Next, let us take some examples which you can see how convergent thinking is applicable in these situations. So, one example is from science. It has asked for a person with blood group AB can donate blood to person having blood group A, B, O or AB. So, you have a choice and then you have to choose one single correct answer. So, you must be knowing the logic, the kind of understanding of how blood groups can be determined of a person and how can it be determined which blood group can be donated to which blood group type person. So, here the convergent thinking is now to be applied to find out that okay, answer is D, AB blood group can be only supplied or donated to AB blood group type person only. Second example is again from the topic of fractions. Here you have to determine which is the smaller fraction. So, if 5 by 16 is greater or smaller than 3 by 8, you can only determine if you have understanding and conceptual clarity about fractions. Similarly, the third question, which is required to find out value of x in this given equation. So, you may have solved number of equation in your mathematics curriculum. So, this is one of them, the simple one. Here x can be found out if you know the procedure of solving such equations as well. So, convergent thinking is very important right now. We can see that number of examples and number of questions we give our students in our maths classroom or science classroom. We know that a lot of convergent thinking is applicable in those situations. So, how can we promote these convergent thinking strategies in our classroom? One, we can use number of objective type reasoning based problems like MCQs. We have discussed one example just in the last slide. So, it will also help in nurturing knowledge, logical abilities, probabilities, decision making skills as well. So, this is one advantage or one way of using objective type questions in promoting convergent thinking. Then we come to another way where specifically in subjects like where a lot of reasoning and convergent thinking can be applicable is maths and science domains. So, here we know that number of problems will require a fixed solution. So, we can find a lot of scope in these subjects overall. Solving jigsaw puzzles is also one strategy which teachers can use in their classrooms. It can be applied to different subjects as well in different classes. So, convergent thinking is again applied in solving certain puzzles. Now, come to the concept of divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is the ability to come up with multiple and creative unique ideas or solution to a given problem within a short span of time. Hence, we can understand from this feature that it is quite opposite to the convergent thinking, where we were only trying to find out just one single solution of a problem. Here we want number of solutions to come up with. So, basically it requires opening the mind into different directions, trying out multiple routes to a problem. Whether it is having one strategy already existing, whether we know some correct or some standard way of arriving at the solution, even then if we are thinking in divergent ways, we would definitely try out to find alternate and multiple routes to solve or approach that problem. Look at the diagram here. It is you can contrast it with the last diagram which we had already seen. Here the problem is in center because we start with the problem or situation given and then we try to generate number of ideas, and every idea can be acceptable, can be of equal worth. You never know, because when you come up with ideas you try to generate a long list of them, and then later on it can be tried out and it can be evaluated whether that idea works, whether it is a solution to a problem or not. So, features of divergent thinking would be like, first of all, it is typically spontaneous and free flowing and occurs in non-linear random fashion. How it is spontaneous? Because if you try out certain methods to promote divergent thinking, you would just give a spontaneous task to a student, like you will give them a concept and then students are advised to generate number of ideas to come out with whatever idea, whatever fact they know, whatever idea come up to their mind, and it just come out within a short span of time. It is free flowing and non-linear because obviously there is no fixed route to be followed. It can go in any random fashion. Children can think in any direction. So, whatever idea, whatever solution they come up with is to be accepted in the class, while divergent thinking is to be promoted. So, here it will involve breaking a complex problem or a topic into its various subparts or its various components, so that different aspects can be dealt out and it can be gain insights into all those aspects. It is also involving figuring out new procedures to solve a problem, whether some existing strategies is there or not. So, here children will be motivated or they will be encouraged to try out new alternative ways. So, mainly to promote creative solutions of a given problem, not just fixing on to a existing method. While we are talking about divergent thinking, we know that if children are coming up with number of solutions, so we have to defer the judgment. We cannot just try criticize them, we cannot just say, okay, no, this idea is not working. You just try to accept. as many possible solutions are coming from children, it has to be accepted and given worth at that particular time. It's like opening up of their mind. Okay, so ideas which are resulted from divergent thinking, they can be structured later on using convergent thinking process, where we try to gather all those ideas and then try to structure them in a particular fashion so that to conclude your discussion. So, this point also emphasizes the kind of connection between divergent and convergent thinking. We generally use them in conjunction to make our discussion, our classroom processes so fruitful. Some examples I have taken of certain questions which would help you to encourage divergent thinking classroom. For example, simple example of a question: why do we need a family? Why did you like in this movie? Suggest the ways you could conserve and use the rainwater in your locality, and what will happen if all petroleum reserve on earth gets finished up. So, these are the kind of question I have taken from, I mean, very familiar context as well as some global context, but yes, definitely you won't find one particular single accepted possible answer for these questions. Everybody would be having their own perspective, their own idea to come up with, and then you cannot say that this idea is weighing more than the other idea. So, divergent thinking involves asking such questions, and somehow you can promote them if you are very well versed with the concept of convergent and divergent thinking. How do we promote divergent thinking then? There are certain techniques available. You can try out and see how these work out. Okay, one would be the brainstorming. So, it is very common technique where you are required to generate a list of ideas in creative, unstructured manner. So, basically the goal is to generate as many ideas as possible in the short span of time without worrying about their criticism or without evaluating whether the idea was fine or it was having any issue, but you have to accept that particular time, because brainstorming is you just give them a topic and let the students come up, let the student open up their mind and come up whatever they think about that particular issue or problem. So, later on you can always revisit those generated list of ideas and can find out whether they were having any worth or not. But brainstorming specifically, it's a kind of technique where you find them, your students do come up with lot of creative ideas. You just give them a topic, maybe for example, you are taking a class on topic of water conservation, you are talking about problems of pollution of water and how it is impacting your environment and your health. So, you just give them a particular topic or a problem and let the children come out with their own ways of tackling or addressing those issues. So, they will come up with as many ideas as possible. So, it's your duty that you have to mainly encourage them, okay, not to withhold with their ideas. They must be having lot of creative ways to address this problem, but may not come up with those ideas because the environment is not feasible enough. So, that environment has to be generated by the teacher. Another example or another strategy by which you can actually encourage divergent thinking is asking your children to keep a journal. So, journal maintenance or maintaining a journal is one effective way to keep a record of instant thoughts or ideas that will come to us spontaneously on different occasions. So, it happens to everyone, whenever we are in a state of mind or we are thinking about a certain issue, lot of ideas do come up with. So, they may be not required at that particular occasion, but yes, if we lose them later on also we will not be able to recollect. So, better if we have a journal making habit, we can always record them at that particular instant, and later on we will generate a kind of collection of thoughts on different subjects, and later on it will be acting as a source book of ideas which are basically our own ideas. And when we are trying to develop organizing different materials, okay, or we are writing on something or we are thinking aloud on some issues, then those ideas can be referred to any time. So, next method which you can try out to develop divergent thinking among students is to encourage them to write freely. So, free writing is the kind of strategy which would focus on a topic, and you would ask your students to write non-stop for a while, where there is no need to worry about proofreading whatever they have written or to look at critically at whatever they have written, whether there is a mistake. No need to worry about grammar or syntax, but it is only to record their ideas in whichever way they are coming up to their mind. So, that record is always very precious, because later on when they have to write actually in a structured way, they can use these ideas, these free writing samples to mainly they can refer them. Then next, another strategy which is again very common and you can always use in your class is mind mapping or subject mapping, or sometimes we also call them as concept mapping. So, here what happens, like you generally create a kind of visual map. Okay, so we understood what brainstorming is. So, in brainstorming we try to generate some ideas around a common theme or around a common topic. So, here these ideas are mainly given a visual image, a kind of pictorial representation which shows the relationship among main idea, which is always put up at core, and all those related aspects which are mainly the branching off. So, you can look at this diagram where we can assume that the central idea is the topic you have given to your children, okay, and then all those ideas which children have come up or they have responded back, you are just trying to record them in the number of branches, okay, and these branches can also expand the way children respond. You can always expand these branches, and sub ideas and their related ideas can be connected. Okay, so you will always come up, you know, at the end you will come up with a kind of networked diagram or a map kind of image. This strategy is again a very interesting strategy. It was proposed by Edward de Bono. So, it is mainly based on the premise that human brain thinks in several distinct ways and directions. Those can be deliberately challenged, and hence they can be planned for use in a structured way, which allows one to develop tactics for thinking about a particular issue. So, it means that here we assume that brain does not think always in a single linear fashion or a single particular mode. Different faculties of brain would be thinking in a different direction. So, mainly 6 distinct directions have been identified in this method, in which brain can be challenged and it brings into conscious thought certain aspects of issues at concern where you are actually targeting your discussion at classroom. So, these 6 directions are given one particular color hat. In strategy, basically hat means it could be real hat, or you can use in classroom the symbols of hat, but the only idea is the color of hat would be giving a kind of clue to the children that okay, if you are indicating white hat, okay, so it means you have to focus on data and information and all those factual information while thinking about a issue. If the color of hat is red, so red color hat would be symbolizing the focus on feelings, intuitions, emotions and all those affective domain aspects. Then comes to the third kind of colored hat, which is yellow hat, and this is the hat which focus on optimistic ways of thinking and look at the benefits and all those positive sides of the issue which is at concern. Black hat would be focusing on cautions and the critical judgments. It will be criticizing the kind of all negative aspects of an issue. Green hat is the symbol which it symbolizes or focus on all those creative aspects. So, creative thinking would be the focus of green hat. Blue hat is the hat which is mainly focusing on the process control and basically thinking about the thinking. So, it leads to higher order thinking and metacognition as well. So, you can see, look at the diagram where each hat is looking at a different aspect or different way of thinking. One which is having focus on facts, green would be having focus on creativity, yellow having only focusing on benefits, black would be focusing on cautions, and red is on feelings and emotions, and blue would be having understanding of process control and all the thinking processes we apply for metacognition as well. So, you must have got some idea that how these thinking can be applied in conjunction within a classroom situation, where you start with a divergent thinking. Example can be taken from any subject, like if you are talking about some topic of science where you are dealing with forests, their conservation and all those issues, and then you can ask your students to come up with number of ways or ideas which click to their mind at that particular time, and then you can ask them to look at those generated ideas as a whole, okay, and then through convergent thinking process you can sum up and summarize and come out with some conclusions of your discussion. So, in real classroom situations also you will be able to use these convergent and divergent thinking methods, okay, and children can be given hands-on experience of using these thinking processes. So, if you give them more and more situations, more and more problems to solve using these processes of convergent and divergent thinking, then you will be definitely helping out them to become more creative problem solvers in that way. So, I think I just thank you for be with me in this session, and we would be meeting again in a different session sooner. Thank you.
हिंदुस्तान के हर कोने में नौजवानों के पास प्रतिभा है, उन्हें अवसर चाहिए।
NIOS देता रहा है युवाओं को अवसर आगे बढ़ने का। NIOS से पढ़ने वाले इन युवाओं ने किया है संस्थान को गौरवान्वित। दिव्यांगों ने बन के दिखाया है सबल और आत्मनिर्भर। NIOS के साथ आप भी जुड़िए NIOS के संग।
पच्चीस साल का लंबा सफर और लाखों लोगों के चेहरों पर खिलती मुस्कान, गर्व और गरिमा से जीने की प्रेरणा देती मुस्कान, आत्मसम्मान और विश्वास से पैदा हुई मुस्कान। इन खिलते चेहरों पर ये मुस्कान आई है शिक्षा के जरिए। ये मुस्कान आई है नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग यानी NIOS के जरिए। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग या राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान, इस संस्थान का एक बड़ा उद्देश्य है आम आदमियों के जीवन को बेहतर बनाना। ऐसे लोग जिनके लिए शिक्षा एक दूर का सपना है, या वे बच्चे जो परिवार की रोजी रोटी कमाने के लिए बीच में ही स्कूल छोड़ने पर मजबूर हो जाते हैं। NIOS ऐसे बच्चों और बड़ों को दोबारा शिक्षा से जुड़ने का मौका मुहैया कराता है ताकि वे एक बेहतर जीवन जी सकें। 1989 में स्थापना के बाद NIOS ने देश के लाखों बच्चों और वयस्कों को बेहतर शिक्षा से जोड़ा है। इनमें हर उम्र, हर पृष्ठभूमि, हर जाति, हर मजहब और हर क्षेत्र के लड़के लड़कियां, महिलाएं और पुरुष शामिल हैं। बढ़ई से लेकर पायलट, डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर, बेकर और दर्जी तक NIOS कोशिश कर रहा है सबको शिक्षित और सशक्त बनाने की, चाहे वो असम के दूर दराज इलाके में रहने वाला हो या फिर मुंबई जैसे महानगर का। NIOS ने अपनी मौजूदगी हर जगह दर्ज कराई है। NIOS ने शिक्षा की परंपरागत सोच को ही बदल दिया है। वो पढ़िए जो हम पढ़ाते हैं की जगह NIOS की नई सोच है, हम वो पढ़ाते हैं जो आप पढ़ना चाहते हैं। इस नई सोच ने लोगों को आगे बढ़ने और NIOS के साथ जुड़ने के लिए प्रोत्साहित किया है। शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराने के मामले में NIOS किसी सीमा को नहीं मानता, उम्र की सीमा को भी नहीं। चंडीगढ़ के गणेश के लिए भी NIOS एक वरदान साबित हुआ। NIOS शारीरिक रूप से अक्षम बच्चों को भी बेहतर शिक्षा मुहैया कराने के लिए पूरी तरह प्रतिबद्ध है। ऐसे बच्चों के लिए शिक्षा न केवल रोजगार के द्वार खोलती है, बल्कि उन्हें आत्मविश्वास और गर्व के साथ जीना भी सिखाती है। NIOS खेल के इन सितारों को उनकी सुविधा और समय के अनुसार बेहतर शिक्षा उपलब्ध कराता है। मेरी कॉम, सोमदेव देववर्मन, देविका रेबेका पल्लिकल, अरमान इब्राहिम, प्रद्युमन प्रकाश और अमय जोत सिंह। NIOS सीमा पर खड़े उन प्रहरियों को भी शिक्षा से लाभान्वित करता है जो देश की सुरक्षा के लिए अपनी जान की बाजी लगाने से भी नहीं चूकते। सच तो ये है कि NIOS की पहुंच हर ओर रहती है, चाहे वो दूर दराज के आदिवासी हो या जेल की कोठरी में बंद कैदी या फिर ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्रों के गरीब निवासी। देश में कहीं भी कोई भी व्यक्ति, स्त्री, पुरुष, लड़का, लड़की, अमीर, गरीब शिक्षा से वंचित न रहे। राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान का यही मिशन है।
राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय शिक्षा संस्थान पूरे देश में शिक्षा के साथ साथ कौशल विकास के क्षेत्र में बहुत सारे कोर्सेज दे रहा है। लगभग 100 से ज़्यादा कोर्सेज हैं। हम दूर दराज के गांव में अपने संस्थान बनाते हैं और वहाँ के बच्चों को, वहाँ के बच्चियों को, वहाँ के वयस्कों को हुनर के क्षेत्र में शिक्षा पहुँचाते हैं। आपको जानकर खुशी होगी कि अब हम आर्ट्स, साइंस, कॉमर्स जिन क्षेत्रों में 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेट दिया जाता रहा है, अब हम हुनर के क्षेत्र में, वोकेशनल एरिया में भी 10वीं और 12वीं का सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे। तो वो बच्चे जो कृषि से जुड़े हुए हैं, कारपेंट्री से जुड़े हुए हैं या दूसरे क्षेत्रों से जुड़े हुए हैं, वो अपने ही क्षेत्र में काम करेंगे, सीखेंगे, हुनर पैदा करेंगे अपने में और सर्टिफाइड भी होंगे कि वो सर्टिफाइड कृषक हैं, खेतिहर हैं। तो आज तक जो हमारे देश में ये सोच रही है कि आप 12वीं पास तभी कहे जाएंगे जब भूगोल, अर्थशास्त्र, भौतिकी ये पढ़ेंगे, अब ये समय बदल गया है। ITI में जितने बच्चे पढ़ते हैं, लगभग 18 लाख बच्चे हर साल दाखिला लेते हैं। अब हम उनको सर्टिफिकेशन करेंगे।
NIOS अपने छात्रों को माध्यमिक स्तर पर 26 और उच्च माध्यमिक स्तर पर 19 विषयों का विकल्प देता है। पढ़ाई किस माध्यम से करनी है, इसमें भी आपको लचीलापन मिलेगा। माध्यमिक स्तर पर ही 7 भाषाओं के अलग अलग माध्यमों का विकल्प मौजूद है। शैक्षणिक कार्यक्रमों के अलावा 86 वोकेशनल शिक्षा कार्यक्रम भी उपलब्ध हैं, जो छात्रों को कामकाजी दुनिया के लिए तैयार करते हैं। वोकेशनल प्रशिक्षण को अधिक सुदृढ़ बनाने के लिए NIOS ने ITDC, सिस्को, इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन जैसे कई सरकारी और गैर सरकारी संस्थानों के साथ भागीदारी स्थापित की है। आज लाखों छात्रों के लिए अपनी पसंद का स्कूल है राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालयी शिक्षा संस्थान यानी नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग। NIOS ने एक लंबा सफर तय किया है, लेकिन मंजिल अभी दूर है। निरंतर विकास और नवीनीकरण के लिए NIOS सदैव प्रतिबद्ध है। शिक्षा का उद्देश्य महज रोजगार जुटाना ही नहीं है, बल्कि स्वयं को सशक्त बनाना भी है। NIOS लाखों छात्रों के लिए यही आत्मसम्मान दिलाने में जुटा है। लाखों लोगों के लिए एक आशा और उम्मीद है। नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ ओपन स्कूलिंग। शिक्षा सबके लिए, कहीं भी, कभी भी।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने।
से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, धन साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो।
कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से,